Welcome, everyone, to the August edition of the Aging Well seminar series here in Leominster. And we've been doing this for a total of almost 3 years total, these types of seminars. And we can't do this alone. And we have some sponsors, but we'll introduce them in a second. If you don't know who I am Jeff Turcott, and this is my wife,
Kelly Kurtz.
And we run the business, and we named it Simply Well Seniors. We're realtors, but we're different. And some people describe what we do as, oh, you handle everything soup to nuts, the whole thing, or everything in the kitchen sink, and from beginning to end. And it's true. Some of the things that we've been working on in the past month is we're meeting with a new client this week. We're meeting with another new client next week, and they've decided that the client we're meeting with next week have decided that the house that they've lived in for a very long time is too large, so they have decided to move to a smaller home, and they've already purchased a smaller home, and we're going to help them transition into that. But it starts with a conversation about what the best outcome they're looking for. So we're gonna start with that. We're also working with a family that a gentleman is moving into an assisted living community
Tomorrow.
We've
been packing him this week, and his family, his son and a daughter, but they're just overwhelmed with trying to help him, support him, and do all those things. So they called us in to help with that process, and it's been rewarding. He's been really appreciative of the help, and yeah, it's a lot. So we'll be doing that tonight. After we leave here, we'll be there probably till the wee hours, because he's going to stay up in a hotel tonight near his new place, which was his choice. So he's not in the house tomorrow morning when the movers come and everything's chaotic. So yeah.
we'll reduce the stress on him, his daughter, and his son, and we'll take it all on ourselves.
Yes.
But no,
That's fun.
We'll manage it. We have the solutions, and we just listed a home in Boxborough that we've been working with an estate for the past 5 or 6 months.
Yeah.
And finally, it's come to a culmination of a listing. And this morning we have a request for a showing tonight, which is exciting because all of our work is paying off. So that's exciting. So the sponsors, our platinum sponsor this year is Sunrise Senior Living. Corrine Day is just walking in the door, but I'll let her get settled for a minute. We also have our gold sponsors this year, Haywood Wakefield Commons, Senior Helpers of Fitchburg, and Life Care Standards of America. And I'd like to have Christy say just a word. And I do have a microphone for you.
Right here? He's right here.
Right over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the microphone on. So I'm Christy from Haywood Wakefield Commons in Gardner. We're an assisted living community in one of the historic Haywood Wakefield Furniture Factory buildings. And I've witnessed Jeff and Kelly doing the soup to nuts for a resident we had move in, list the home, get her all set up, and work with the family diligently so that it was seamless, and it went very well. And we're celebrating our 15-year anniversary this September, so we're excited about that. And thank you.
Sure.
Thank you. And we have a great husband and wife team here today. We have Ekau and Amma. But Amma, you want to say a few words about senior helpers?
Yes. Here you are.
And introduce your son as well.
Yes.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Amma. I'm with Senior Helpers of Fitchburg. My husband and I run it. We have my son Kwame here today. He's our intern for the summer. He's been helping in the office. Our office is located in Fitchburg. We serve all of North Central Massachusetts. We are a non-medical home care company. So we help clients with everyday living stuff, cooking, cleaning, and sometimes personal care. We also work with various partners. So we partner with people. We've asked Jeff and Kelly, do you know a handyman? Do you know a landscaper? Because we get all those requests, people going for respite, so, checking in with, Marie, what do we do? So we work together. Like we always say, it's good to collaborate. So we work together with many people to make sure that you're safe at home. So that's what we do. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And before Corrine sits down, we'll have her
Yes.
say a few words. I'll go back to that slide. Oh, there it is. Sunrise Senior Living in Leominster.
Hello. I'm Corrine with Sunrise Senior Living of Leominster. Most of you know me. I've been with the company for 21 years. The reason why I'm late today is because the town of Sterling decided to do something with a fire hydrant right up the street from my house. And I had sort of a flood. So anyhow, Sunrise has 70 apartments. It has assisted living and it also has memory care. Our apartments range in size from 275 square feet studios up to almost 1,000 square feet, 2-bedroom apartments. And I just work with an amazing community. And I want to thank Kelly and Jeff for allowing me to be a sponsor. And also just kudos to you for helping move some of my residents in who, it's just too overwhelming for them. And you guys just take it from, you just do amazing work for people and just take the stress off of the whole idea of moving. So thank you for all that you do.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Keith, Keith.
whoops, going the wrong way. Okay. And then Next Level Studios, our good friend Keith, who is our videographer, and he has not missed a seminar yet. He doesn't plan on it. But all of our seminars are recorded and they're listed on our website as well as on our YouTube channel. And I typically post them and edit them a little bit and then look at myself and hear myself talk. And I usually turn the volume down, but anyway. But they're great friends of ours and great sponsor as well. Just a little bit about us, this proven process. And we don't say this out of arrogance or that we know exactly what we're doing all the time. But when we follow this process, the outcome is mostly predetermined. We had a home in Sterling that needed some home staging, some downsizing. The person that was living there needed to determine where she was going to live. We followed the process. We listed the home, and in the first weekend, we got an offer over asking, and we're going to close in 30 days. So it just seems to work. We keep following it. When we don't follow the process and either overprice the house or someone isn't necessarily haven't determined where they're going to move to next, they're just going to say, well, we'll see. Then things kind of go sideways. We do our best to keep it on track. But when we follow this process, the downsizing, decluttering, the coordination of vendors, the sale of the real estate, and then helping someone pack and move. It seems to work. So we'd love to talk to anybody about that afterwards as well. All right. So today the topic is navigating the healthcare highway. And we have some really great speakers today. And we're going to do this kind of Merv Griffin interview style, for a little bit. Then we'll have them all come up and talk about, some questions from the audience. But we want to make sure we stay on time, because the ice cream truck is going to be here at 11:45. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
You'll get a free cup or cone with one topping.
Yes.
Okay? So today we're going to
hold the questions till the end so you can mingle with the participants, the speakers at the end, if possible.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about how senior care options fit together when we're talking about this navigating this highway. We're going to break down short-term rehab, home health care, long-term. We're going to talk a little bit about hospice as well. We're going to show you, how to understand these distinctions and how you plan for these kinds of things moving forward. And so what would it mean for your family to have a clear roadmap when navigating this, when this happens? Knowing broad, big picture, how this is going to go and what choices you can make now for the inevitable when these kinds of things happen. But if you have questions, we'll certainly have time, and our sponsors and our our guest speakers will have time afterwards as well.
Yeah, and getting to know some of these folks and their names and faces, it will be good if you need these services in the future. It's kind of like having a plumber on hand, or an electrician or something, or a heating person. If something happens in your house, that's not the time when you go, oh, I wonder who I should call. Like, you want to know that you've had someone come to your house before, or someone that you trust and you've already established a rapport before you need them. So that's what today is, to try to get everybody comfortable with what's out there. And then you can do some homework on your own to investigate some of these things further, so you don't have to do it in a crisis mode.
So we're going to invite Richard Eastham up. If everybody gives Richard a big round of applause.
Hey. And he's going to have the mic, right?
Yeah, it should have already been on. Yeah, I think so.
I turned it off, but there you go.
And Richard is the community liaison from Care VNA in hospice in Gardner. And Richard is a wealth of knowledge. And we prepared some questions, and we gave him the questions in advance. So
Thank you. It's Care Central VNA, by the way.
Care Central VNA.
Yeah, we got to get that straight. Care Central.
So this is kind of where we're starting the journey here. We're gonna start this journey in the hospital. Okay, so you've had a stay in the hospital for whatever reason. Maybe it's a procedure that was planned. Maybe it was an event that wasn't planned, and so you're getting ready to be discharged. And what next?
Well, we also know, before we start that, the day of discharge typically on a hospital admission is the day you enter. Like, they're already starting to think about how long you'll be there and when you're going to get out. So when Richard, when someone's preparing to leave the hospital, how is it determined whether they need an inpatient rehabilitation, home health services, or if they can go home? How is that determined?
So while you're in the hospital, you will be seen obviously by a lot of people. And all of those different individuals will be doing evaluations during your stay. You'll have clinical evaluations to make sure that your health is stable and that you are able to safely return home. They will also determine at that point if you can safely return home without services, or if you might need a skilled nurse to come in to assist with some of your medical side. In addition, you'll be seen by physical therapy or PT. They will work with an individual to make sure that they're strong enough and safe to go home. And if they need more physical therapy while they're at home. You'll also meet with, a variety of other disciplines like respiratory therapy to determine if you might need oxygen, occupational therapy, things like that. All of those people together work with the discharge planners and the case managers at the hospital. Those two individuals, discharge planners, case managers, sometimes social workers, will be the ones that come and speak to you directly and discuss the services or discuss the recommendations of that entire care team. Okay? So it will not be a 5 or 6 people coming to you and telling you, you need nursing, you need PT, you need this. You will have a point person, and that's important to note. We'll get to that in a second. And then you begin to discuss what was recommended, whether it's home with services, or if they feel that a brief stay in a short-term rehab facility would be beneficial to get you back to your baseline so that you can safely be at home and hopefully remain there independent as long as you can. That's the goal of both home health care and short-term rehab, is to really make sure you're stable enough, strong enough, and back to your baseline.
Okay.
So we know that a lot of times that's chaotic. You're not feeling your best. You're in the hospital. People are coming in and out. You may be on different medicines, so you're a little bit groggy or you don't remember quite everything. But say, in terms of caregivers or patients, what questions should they be asking before they're discharged if they don't necessarily haven't seen all those folks for one reason, or they don't remember the visits, or didn't ask the questions at the time? What else could they ask?
You should really be working closely with whomever is planning your discharge. And I have to be vague there because different hospitals have different point persons for you. For example, Haywood Hospital, the social workers will be kind of driving your discharge planning versus in Leominster, it's usually a case manager that's doing it. Regardless of that, that's your point person. That's the person you want to ask all of your questions to, that you want to listen to very intently. And remember a few things. As patients, you have rights. You have rights to make decisions about your own health care. You have right to make choices about who provides that health care. So if they tell you that it is recommended that you go to a short-term rehab facility, then you have a right to choose what facility you go to, as long as that facility has a bed available and takes your insurance, obviously. And what they will do is they'll present you with a list of facilities and agencies, like VNAs, like my own, from which you would choose 3 choices, first, second, and third. So if you're choosing a VNA and you have your favorite VNA, then you want to make sure that, or a VNA you've worked with before, you want to make sure that that VNA is your number one choice, and that you select that. And that form is signed. It's part of your chart. Any one of us on your care team can view that. I caution on this because some hospitals own their own VNAs, and they will list their own VNA on top in like 36 font. And everyone else down below is 8 font. So be careful. Just make sure your choices are known. And if they come back and tell you, okay, you're going home with XYZ VNA and you wanted ABC VNA, it's your right to find out why. It's your right to determine if perhaps, and sometimes this happens, unfortunately, you know, all of our clinicians are booked for the next few days. They don't have room to safely accept your referral. Another thing with Care Central, VNA, and hospice, one thing we try to do is be very careful with what we accept, or the quantity, so that we're not admitting you onto service more than 48 hours after you've discharged from the hospital. That's the rule everyone's supposed to follow. Not everyone does. Some VNAs will accept your referral and then not see you for a week, which is dangerous. Okay. So, that's the primary thing to remember is you have choices, ask questions, and make sure that your voice is heard.
Perfect.
Talking about coming from the hospital, so what are some of the most common reasons why a senior might return to the hospital within a few weeks of a discharge?
It happens frequently. Well, that thing I just mentioned is one of them. If your VNA doesn't get out to see you in time, and you need to see them for whatever reason, be it wound care or medicines and whatnot, that's definitely a primary cause. Unfortunately, another cause is med adherence or not following the plan of care that your doctor puts forward. They will give you a list of medications you need to be taking or things you need to be doing. A lot of times those lists are long and convoluted and very confusing. Sometimes there's med changes, medicine that you've been taking for the past 15 years. Once a day, suddenly you're supposed to take it twice a day. People forget, or you just simply don't see that line in your discharge instructions. So it's important to really understand what your discharge instructions are. Don't be afraid to ask for help if you need it, whether it's from a family member, caregiver, or again, ask that case manager if you can have additional help in the home from a VNA.
Okay.
It's details like that drive rehospitalizations.
Because sometimes we see that patients coming out are going to find out that they don't qualify for home care services, especially after an emergency room visit versus a true admission. So can you explain why this would be?
Yeah, I see this a lot. If you go into the emergency room and let's say you or a loved one fell, and thank God they weren't hurt. There were no fractures, nothing happened, but they didn't determine an etiology. They didn't determine what caused you to fall. And it wasn't just like a mechanical fall, like a trip or you turned around, suddenly your dog was there and you fell over that. If they make a referral to a VNA like myself, and it says falls or weakness or gait instability or something like that, unfortunately, that's a symptom. And CMS, Medicare, and 99% of your insurance companies for home care services, that's not a qualifying skill for home care. They want to know what caused it. Or if you fall, did you injure yourself or break something? The worst thing about this rule is those are the people that go back to the emergency room and did break something the second time.
Yeah.
So what happens then is if the emergency room makes a referral to a VNA, they can't take you because of what the emergency room documented. Your next step is to go to your primary care provider and say, I was just at the hospital because I fell. And you're supposed to follow up 2 days later anyway. Do follow up and tell them I fell. I couldn't get VNA services from the emergency room, but I feel like I need help. Can you make a referral for me? And because your doctor has all of your med history there and is treating you for everything and knows what's going on, they may know what caused that fall and can refer you and say, Amy has hypotension. She needs a VNA, a skilled nurse in physical therapy in the home. And the hypotension caused the fall.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, great information. So we're going to have you back up, Richard, in another section. So we'll save some of those other questions for you. But thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. All right.
So next, we'd like to introduce Maria Achilles, our friend. And she is with Sterling Village Skilled Nursing and Rehab. And you can tell us a little bit more about what you do in the 30-second blurb, if you like. because I can't ever explain it.
And
exactly.
we want to thank Marie. She was in Alaska when we reached out to her to come talk with us today. And she just got off a plane a couple days ago and she's back. So she had a great vacation, it looks like.
So thank you very much. It was my pleasure to help out. I think Richard laid an excellent map for me. So thank you so much for laying the groundwork. What was your original question?
Yeah, so, well, we were saying that when someone leaves the hospital on this healthcare highway, oftentimes the next step is a rehabilitation stay. And so we wanted to learn a little bit more about what that looks like.
So the rehab stay itself, once it's determined somebody does in fact need a short-term rehab stay, everyone, the old school train of thought is, oh my God, I'm not going to a nursing home. They can be in the same physical building, but they're two different entities, two different disciplines, two different worlds, so to speak. So short-term rehab is just that, short-term rehab. And in this day and age, we truly mean that because we need those beds just as much as you want to go home. You come into us from the hospital after an acute stay that you are not able to, for whatever reason, go home. And you need short-term strengthening, you need IV antibiotics, you need something that the lay person, an extra set of hands, cannot provide for a multitude of reasons. You need IV antibiotics 3 times a day, which would be a barrier for the VNA. You need more intensive physical therapy. You need lots of respiratory therapy. You need occupational therapy. You need medical physician oversight daily almost.
Okay.
But your goal is to go home, and that's our goal as well.
Okay. So you explained a little bit about, when people say, don't send me to the nursing home.
Correct. Everyone thinks that. I'm going to the nursing home. I'm never going to leave. No, you're leaving. You're leaving. This is not a vacation. Bring your clothes because you're going to rehab day 1.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then then the plan is to go home because you need that short-term bed for
We need those short-term beds
the next
too.
person coming from the hospital. Okay. So who's an ideal candidate for this short-term rehab? You kind of went over a little bit about someone that needs strengthening, someone that needs.
So there's several.
Yeah.
Somebody who has social support, somebody that has a good discharge plan. Many people they're in between, they need one more shot, they really want to go home, but it's really questionable whether they can continue on like this. They've had multiple falls, failure to thrive. They just getting towards that stage where they have to make a decision. That may not be somebody for short-term rehab. The old days of breaking a hip and going to rehab are kind of over, unfortunately. When you break a hip, have a knee done, whether it's elective or you fell, those days are kind of over. we currently see a lot of like pneumonia, sepsis, you have some sort of infection, a lot of respiratory issues that you just need a little bit of strengthening. You need medication monitoring. You may have some new medications. A lot of infections require the IV antibiotics because they're stronger and you need larger doses more frequently.
Okay.
Okay. So what should patients and families expect during a typical rehab stay? Maybe walk us through the process.
So like I just said, it's not a vacation. You start with physical therapy immediately. And the hospitals do discharge people. We had somebody at 9 p.m. last night.
Oh.
And they were not seen by physical therapy because that's our call. Like we stop it by 7, no more therapy, no more evaluations. You will be seen by Sterling Village is fortunate. We have 2 physicians and 2 nurse practitioners. You will be seen by one of those at least once a day.
Perfect.
So we're fortunate. Not every facility has that ability. But you will be evaluated by the physician or the nurse practitioner on day 1. The clinical nurse manager will evaluate you. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, respiratory therapy, speech therapy. Social services will also meet with you, and everyone will evaluate you and see where you are, what your baseline is, and what you need to go home. And that's day 1.
Okay. All right. So it's really, you're going to be seen, you're going to be taken care of.
It's overwhelming. Day 1 is pretty intense. Like you get a million faces at you.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So how can family members actively support their loved one while they're in rehab? So I know my experience working in rehab was hard they wanted to come and visit, but it's, the therapist has to get in, everybody's trying to get in and do things. So there's not a lot of time to hang out and just visit. So what do you recommend?
So we recommend, first and foremost, 1 point person for the family, because if you can imagine 143 patients with multiple family members calling, that takes time away from the nurse manager or the nurses or the staff to take care of the patients. So we ideally have 1 point person. There will be a care plan meeting within 48 hours after everyone does an evaluation. We welcome you to come to the facility, observe, and do any training for the physical therapy, card transfers, how do I do this at home? But let our staff get in there and do the evaluation first. We don't restrict visiting by any means. We have many families who want to be active participant, get to know the staff there, see what they're doing, but also be mindful that your loved one is there for a reason. We have many people who visit off hours. They may visit just for lunch hour. They may visit after dinner, those kinds of things.
Okay.
Great.
So sometimes we see that during the short-term stay, the patient isn't progressing the way that was anticipated or expected. So they don't regain enough independence to return home. How do you determine when long-term care may be a safest option for someone who did come in for short-term rehab?
So we can only make recommendations. Everyone has the right to disagree. Everyone's allowed to make bad choices. Everyone is entitled to that right. I totally support that. We will have a social worker, and if the team recommends, hey, mom actually needs 24/7 care, these would be options. We have different assisted livings, independent livings, VNA that can provide more around the clock, private duty services, but these would be your options. And you as a family, should have a conversation with each other and your loved one.
So it's not necessarily they come in for short-term rehab, decide they need long-term care, and they just stay in that bed. Those beds are very separate from long-term care.
Correct. However, some facilities have a different process for transitioning to long-term care. We actually have an application for long-term care, which many facilities do. I think ours is rather lenient. We do not ask you for your whole life history, personally, financially, et cetera. And obviously, if you're in our building, we kind of have some ownership. Many folks have to have that family conversation. Well, where is the best spot geography-wise? Just because you're in Sterling doesn't mean you want to live the rest of your years in Sterling. You may want to relocate. You may be actually from the Gardner area. You may be from a different area. And we can assist with transfers and recommendations and partners.
Okay, super.
Great. So let's talk a little bit about memory care. So if someone's coming for short-term care, or they're there for long-term care, or they're coming just for memory care from wherever they were, let's talk a little bit how that's different and what that looks like.
Well, there's different parts to memory care.
Okay.
There's a secure unit versus a certified unit. Secure unit means just that it's secure. It's not locked per se. After probably 15, 20 seconds, if you push hard enough, the door will open. And that is a secure system.
Okay.
It's not certified.
Okay.
It's just a safety mechanism. We also have somebody we determine is a wander risk, like that kind of situation. Everyone's photographed for that reason.
I see.
In case they were to get off their secure area.
I see.
All staff are dementia trained, irregardless if they work in the kitchen, housekeeping, or on the nursing floor.
Okay.
Everyone has dementia training, and that's everywhere.
Okay. So families often struggle knowing when it's time to make the transition to a memory care unit. They may be seeing some signs at home of things changing. And how do you, what guidance or what can you offer families to start looking out for things that it may be time to at least explore?
Safety is the priority. So if the person is at risk for safety reasons, fire hazards, falling down stairwells, eloping from their home at nighttime, those kinds of things, maybe it's time to take the car keys, turn off the stoves, provide more oversight for their safety, because you want to make sure that in the event of a fire or something, they can get themselves safely out. We do work with partners as far as like Lifeline and MedMinders and stuff. We can offer a lot of supports, but if it comes down to a safety issue, we still will say 24/7 supervision.
Okay.
And you have to make that decision if you're going to be in compliance or not.
I see. And 24/7.
Means 24/7. That doesn't necessarily need to be in a facility. It could be at home with someone that's providing 24/7. You have the resources. You could do it in a facility. You can do at a different level of care. You could do it at home. Whichever works for you and your family.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the last question I have is how do you help families navigate this emotional side of this journey? And, certainly with siblings or other family members or that kind of thing that weren't prepared to go through this with their senior, either parent or uncle or what have you. I mean, how is there some, what's the support there for them?
So we do have 2 phenomenal social workers who are very, very patient. Our team is trained to be patient and to listen. We listen, we validate what you're saying and what we're hearing, just so when you hear it repeated back to you, you're like, oh, okay. We offer you an abundance of resources. We partner with all the agencies around here. We welcome them in. We get to know them, so we're not just going in the yellow pages and saying, here's a VNA near your house.
Sure.
No, we only work with partners that we know. We encourage those folks to come into the facility and meet with you. We welcome care plan meetings. We invite them to come into any activity to see you in action, so to speak. We invite them to be part of the process. We have team meetings. We give you ample support in writing as well.
Okay.
So you have all those resources, because it is a lot to take in. So you have everything in writing as well.
Right. Perfect. Excellent.
Good.
Okay.
All right.
Good. Well, thanks, Marie. We'll have you back up when we have the groups session. Thank you very much. Let's give a round of applause for Marie.
Yay.
Thank you very much. So we talked a little bit about short-term rehab. We talked a little bit about when you're getting out of the hospital, and if you're being released from the hospital and you get to go home, but you need some help, some additional help. It might come from folks like senior helpers. So we're going to introduce Akau. Come on up and talk a little bit about what that looks like. So let's give Akau a big round of applause.
Thank you.
Have a seat. You're on the hot seat now. We asked Amma this morning, which one of you would like to sit in the hot seat? And Amma says, Akau.
Yeah.
I said, okay.
Yeah.
And we appreciate you sponsoring us this year. We've had a
Yes.
lot of fun and getting to know you and helping us as well as a resource. So it's really been a really great relationship. We hope you're feeling the same. And we're going to give you some ice cream today too. So, so go ahead.
So fortunately, many seniors return home after rehabilitation, maybe after they've been at Sterling Rehab, Sterling Village. And so we want to talk a little bit about how going through senior helpers make that transition from rehab or from acute care hospital to home. So many people assume that once they're discharged home, it's like, yep, they set me free. Now I'm on my own. We're going to have to do everything ourselves. So how does your non-medical home care services bridge that gap between being fully independent and maybe still needing a little bit of help at home?
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me. So what we do in terms of helping with seniors is we come into the home after you've been discharged from whatever facility you're being discharged from, whether it's a hospital or rehab facility. We're helping you with the things that help you with your daily needs. Sometimes it may be a situation where somebody's coming back home and laundry, they need help with laundry, and laundry is in the basement, and there's a concern of them falling as they go down the steps. And so that may be all the care that we may be providing is coming in and helping you get your laundry done, get your dishes done, run errands for you, pick up your medications from the CVS or whatever pharmacy that your medications are dispensed at. It may mean helping you go to an appointment, which means we're transporting you, whether in your own vehicle or in the caregiver's vehicle, we'll be helping you. And if it's just so happens that the senior is in a position that they cannot do certain functions for themselves, such as helping themselves out of bed into a wheelchair or taking a shower, we can help them take a shower. So most of our care is directed in the non-medical space. So sometimes it could be taking your dog out for a walk, changing the cat litter. We'll do that as well.
That's amazing, right? Isn't that amazing? To think that there's services that can actually do that.
So it's not necessarily for someone that lives alone.
No, it's not.
Okay. So it could be someone that needs that additional help and is living with either a son or a daughter or a spouse that can't get them into that wheelchair.
Yes.
Or those kinds of things.
Yes.
Or they may be, the son or daughter may be going to work, or the spouse may be going to work. Or sometimes we know just caregiver stress. Your spouse comes home from the hospital and now you're doing everything. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're trying to do the laundry, and you're still trying to support them. So This is a really nice adjunct to take some of those chores and things off your plate and help you spend more time, or just have a break yourself as the caregiver so you're not getting burnt out.
Yes, that's correct.
So how can having some help at home with your services reduce falls, medication errors, and hospital readmissions? Like we're seeing, based on what you're saying, you're supporting some of those things so they're not walking down the stairs with the laundry.
Yes.
What other things would you say having your services would help with those areas?
Yeah, so somebody coming home from the hospital some individuals would have the mindset, I can still do this, I can still do that. Sometimes you may go into the hospital in very good physical shape and come out based on what you're in for. It determines, how you return home. So example, somebody goes into the hospital as a result of a cardiac condition, either a heart attack or something, comes back from the hospital and the expectation is that they're doing well at home. Now, a caregiver may come in, and the benefit of having the caregiver coming in is they may come in and see the individual in the couch. They will be able to say, did you fall asleep in the couch? Did you sleep in the couch? That might have its own implications. What it may mean is that this person is still struggling to breathe. So they're probably having, fluids pooling up in their lungs or in their heart. And that's the reason they're sleeping upright. So that knowledge, when we see it in the notes for the client, we will call either the client or the family and say, you might want to get checked out because you should be able to be sleeping either flat or in a slightly recumbent position, as opposed to sleeping up in a recliner.
Sure.
So those are things that sometimes we're able to see. It may be just reaching up in a cupboard where something is up too high and you're tiptoeing and you slip. It may be you're reaching too low and you slip. It may be you have rugs on the floor and they're not fixed to the ground. You're using a walker and it gets snagged on it, or the walker doesn't have walker skis, because the walker skis glide over stuff, and the tennis ball and the rubber stubs can easily, drag on the lip of a rug. So those are some things that sometimes people haven't considered, that we're able to go into the home and point out to them to say, this is a basic thing that doesn't seem major until it causes a problem. So that's the benefit that we're able to bring into the home when we are there.
It's wonderful.
Certainly, if someone went to the hospital and had strength, but came home with a walker where they hadn't had one previously.
Yes.
Or something of, another medical device where they didn't leave the house, where they came home with something, and that creates difficulty, and it's not the normal. They can't, I could do that before I went to the hospital, but now not so much.
Yeah. We've seen that as well. There was a particular case we had where an individual went into the hospital initially with one hip fracture. Came home with a walker, and whilst they were home with the walker, they were taking something out of the refrigerator and kind of leaned a little bit on the refrigerator door. It swung the other way, and the result was the second hip and shoulder fracture. So, it became worse. And that seemed like something that, he could basically do, but you never really know what the risks are. And sometimes you think that you have it covered, but something could easily trip you up.
Sure.
So we see that many seniors, their fear getting help, they think, I'll come home, I can do it myself, I'll have to build my strength back up. So they oftentimes don't want help because they think they're going to lose their independence, because they just want to do it. So how does home care, you're kind of already elaborated on some of this, but how can the home care senior helpers actually help remain people independent for longer? I guess by doing some of the things you're saying, helping with the refrigerator, so you're not taking unnecessary chances. But any other suggestions or stories that you have about how it can increase your independence versus making you more dependent?
Yes. I think sometimes the issue of dependence comes in mostly on information. So how much information does the individual or the senior have on what home care is? A lot of times is the lack of knowledge. So somebody's experience with home care may be seeing a relative or a parent get home care when they were bedridden. So to them, that is what home care is. Another person may think of home care as somebody that used to come into the home and help with the laundry and the dishes. And so don't understand that when you need more hands-on care, somebody's there to provide that. And also just understanding that ultimately you are in control. Ultimately, you make the decision. And we try and have that conversation, particularly with the kids, similar to what you did last month with planning for that time, is telling the kids as well that you always have to communicate to your parents. You may see and have a fear of something happening to your parent, but you have to tell your parent always that it's their choice. And having them understand that bit of it's your choice. We also like to tell our clients that it's your home. We are the strangers. We are the visitors coming in. You call the shots and you determine what happens. So I think that just that piece of information of giving individuals that understanding that you still call the shots, you still make the decisions, you still get to say yes and no. We don't come and take over your life. We're coming to be an assistant to you. We may be sort of, you could think of us as maybe a surrogate stepchild or grandchild that you send on errands. Go get me water from the refrigerator, go clean my bathroom sort of thing. rather than dictators that come into your home and tell you, no, you have to do this. No, you have to do that. No, we don't do that. That's not how we do things.
And echoing what you were saying about communicating with your adult children and having that to choice, it's really important that when you have information, it's easier to make a choice.
Yes.
Because if you don't have information and you don't know, it's often easy to say, I don't want that, because you haven't figured it out.
Yes.
But when there is information and it's presented in front of you, you can have this or this or this, and this is what this looks like, and get more information before it's needed.
True.
Is really important.
True.
Yeah.
So,
Excellent.
okay, great. Well, let's give the cow a big round of applause.
Yes, thank you.
In a minute.
And we're going to call Richard back up. He's going to talk a little bit about hospice from Central Care VNA. We have a few questions on that, and then we'll call the whole panel back up.
Thank you, Richard.
So as we're continuing down this healthcare highway, there may come a time when the focus shifts from curing an illness to maximizing comfort and quality of life. And that's really where hospice comes in. So hospice is generally misunderstood by a lot of folks. Some people may have had experience with it in the past, but can you explain what hospice is and what it isn't, even more importantly?
Sure. Hospice is a decision, a choice that you, your family, and your doctor should make together. It is a decision that your doctor and you reach, that the curative treatments for your illness are no longer working, and further pursuit of curative treatments is essentially suffering, and you or your loved one no longer wish to go down that route. And at that point, the focus shifts to palliative care, to comfort care. And one of the biggest benefits of electing a hospice sooner rather than later is the support systems that are built in, not just for the patient, but for the entire family. The goal of hospice is not only to make the individual comfortable, but to help the family and reduce stress and burnout on the caregivers. For example, one benefit that is available to caregivers and patients is massage therapy for its obvious relaxation benefits.
Excellent. That's great. When is the right time to start talking about hospice? I know there at some point is a guideline of doctor maybe telling you have so long to live. Is that still a
Usually
guideline?
your doctor would consider to begin that conversation with you when you're around what he feels is the last 6 months of your life.
Okay. All right. So it's good to talk about it prior to that or right around that time once you get that
The best
knowledge.
time to start talking about hospice is right now, today, and not just for someone who is a senior or near the end of their life. The discussions about hospice care is something that you could have with your children. What do they want? And that your children could have with their children. The more that we have these conversations about advanced directives, about what we want our care to look like, the easier it is when that time comes to consider it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And just from personal experience, both my parents passed and both had hospice services. And it truly was wonderful to have them die in their own home, in their familiar surrounding. And it was comfortable for the family to be able to be there. And so sometimes that's not always possible, but having that discussion, it really does make a nice, peaceful end of life versus being in a hospital room with all the buzzers going off and all of that stuff. Which usually isn't still in place during hospice, but it does make a difference. So think about where you might want to be when you have your final days, if you're able to plan that much. We never know when our last day will be, but it does make a nice difference. At least in our case, it really did.
Okay. You want to bring up the rest of the panel and
Yeah, we could do that, and we'll have a few questions for everybody. That way, we'll still stay on track for time. So we're going to give
Richard,
up our
stay
chairs.
right there and hang on to the mic.
We can start with either whoever has the mic, or if someone else feels really compelled to answer, we can pass back and forth. But let's see. If someone's goal is to remain safely at home for as long as possible, what steps should they begin taking today?
Making the home accessible.
Okay, you can use the mic if you want, just for the video too.
I would say making your home accessible, whether it's putting shower bars in your bathroom area, bars near your toilet area, maybe lowering the sink. Ramps are never a bad thing. Think about if you're not on the first floor, can you be on the first floor? Even if it's temporary, can you move? I changed my dining room to a bedroom. It's just took a couple minor tweaks.
Yep.
Lifeline, I think, is a gift. MedMinder is also a gift. It helps you to remember your medications. And there's always that I fall and I can't get up. They're great tools to have in the home.
Perfect.
I would also say, and this kind of goes into your wheelhouse, don't be afraid to seek assistance early on, especially if your goal is to stay in your home as long as you can, and it's everyone's goal. It's my goal. Agencies like theirs exist, agencies like mine exist for a reason, and our goal is for you to achieve the same thing. So if you need some assistance with the laundry, like Echo said, and also, have those conversations with your family members about what your goals are, that you want to stay in the home as long as you can, and if they're able to help, that would be fantastic.
Okay, great. So, go ahead. Yes, please.
Yeah, just one other thing I wanted to add. We do provide a complimentary service where we can come to your home and just do an assessment. It's a complimentary service at no cost to you. And what we do is that we have an algorithm that we go through. It looks at 144 risk factors in the house or for yourself. So we can go through that with you and make recommendations as to what are some of the things that you can put in place. And like Maria was mentioning, grab bars in the bathroom, or rugs that need to be fixed to the ground or removed if that has to be the case. What level of the house you want to live in, or you want to put a chair lift in. If you still want to remain upstairs, there are certain safety things that you can do to stay at home.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I just wanted to add one more thing. Now, while you're able to be mobile and out and about, take advantage of the resources that the community offers. Your senior center is a wealth of information and resources. And if you don't know an answer to a question you have, I'll bet money that your senior center can find you the answer. Also, Aging Services of North Central Massachusetts, fantastic resource.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and we've talked about care managers. We've done seminar with care managers earlier too. But those are great resources to kind of have your one contact person who has also networked with all of these folks and other folks and can help direct your care. So it's good to establish those relationships early on while you're healthy, of sound mind and body, and be prepared. Always be prepared to have those things in your back pocket for when you need them.
Let's talk a little bit about what legal and healthcare planning documents should a senior have, in place before these things happen.
I'll start.
Okay.
So
Hit us.
my family enjoys once a year, we have, the healthcare proxy conversation. Nothing says happy Thanksgiving. And I can tell you, my children from a very young age know what that is all about. It's very important to have a healthcare proxy and an alternate. Just because you are the healthcare proxy on a piece of paper does not give you a legal right to anything. That doesn't become in effect until a doctor writes a physician's order saying that you are no longer able to do it. And a lot of people don't understand that. Are you on all the bank accounts legally? Do you have access to that information? Do you know where it is? Do you know those passwords? Do you know all the banking information? Knowing it and being able to access it are very different. You cannot walk into Bank of America and says, my mother's in the hospital. She needs to go to a facility. I need $10,000. It doesn't work that way. It's very complicated. And with that, I'm going to.
Conveniently, I just gave a presentation on this yesterday on advanced directives. A great idea, the Thanksgiving conversation about healthcare proxies. In addition to that, document your advanced directives for your healthcare proxy. Write down what care you want, what care you don't want. In a moment of crisis, that can be a lifeline for your healthcare proxy. It's reassurance. This is what my loved one wants. This is what they told me to do. I know I'm doing the right thing. Have that conversation at Thanksgiving dinner if you must, so that everyone knows this is what they want and there's no conflict in the family. When it comes to finances, consider a durable power of attorney. Because if you can't put or don't want to put initially your children on your bank accounts, having a legal representative that can then walk into the bank, show that piece of paper. This happened for me personally with my father. He was suddenly incapacitated 600 miles away. And when I got there, thank God he had set this all up before. I got the documents. I went to the bank in less than 30 minutes. I think it was like 15 minutes. I was able to pay the bills that needed to be paid for him so that he was able to get the care that he needed. If you don't do that, it's going to go into probate court, and none of us want that to happen.
Right.
And there's so much like access, like many things that, you need access to. So we have a little book where like we have everything that you need access to, but then the passwords are in pencil. So as we change them, we make sure that we change them. So remember to change those passwords to everything that you have, and make sure that your family knows where that book is kept in case of anything. And then to add to the healthcare proxy piece, we've seen many people choose a healthcare proxy, but the proxy themselves doesn't know that they're a proxy until something happens. So make sure that if you pick a proxy, you let them know you are my proxy and these are my wishes, because we've seen that so many times where they have no idea, something happens and then they just don't know what to do.
I just wanted to add one thing. If you happen to have a DNR request, it's always helpful to call your local fire department and have them informed, so that if ever a call goes out, the dispatchers are able to know that this client that they're going to has a do not resuscitate request on file.
So I just want to reiterate that there is a push to have what's called a MOLST form, MOLST. And it's really a focus at the time. And it lists just what Richard was saying. I want this. I don't want that. Make sure that people have copies of this. It's all great if you have a copy of it under your mattress. But if nobody knows where it is, your primary care, they typically will also make sure that when you go to the hospital the first time, they don't have it unless someone gives it to them. They're not going to go looking for it willy-nilly. They are not going to call your primary care necessarily. They need it scanned into their system. So those documents need to be given to multiple people. Secondly and foremost, I've been in this situation personally many times. When you do your healthcare proxy, if you don't want heroic measures or you do want certain things, make sure that person that you designate can do that. I was the healthcare proxy for someone in my extended family because the children could not do that emotionally. So when you have that conversation, it needs to be somebody that will do it. I have 3 children. My 2 sons would never abide by my message. They would feel too guilty. They would hem and haw. They would cry. They would, blah, blah, blah. And not so much with my daughter. Well, she's in the healthcare system.
Okay.
She understands it. So make sure those 2 people understand and can do it.
I have a resource for you. If you're internet savvy at all, Honoring Choices Massachusetts, they have everything you need to begin these conversations that we're talking about. They're a not-for-profit. They have everything online, videos, forms, anything you need to start the conversation about advanced directives. They'll tell you what documents you can print off and sign yourself. They'll tell you what you need to go see an attorney for. HonoringChoicesMassachusetts.com.
maybe just one final question for everyone, if you want to pass the mic through. If each one of you could leave the audience with one piece of advice for navigating this healthcare highway with confidence, something that we haven't brought up before, what would it be? What's a little tidbit?
So from short-term rehab, nobody looks for it. This is like a washing machine. No one goes and says, I'm going to spend my Saturday looking for a washing machine. However, you can educate yourself because the process is short and fast and you have no time. You are sick. You are laying in a bed and the case manager or social worker comes in and says, you're being discharged today. Where do you want to go? Due diligence, you're required to provide 3 facilities. Now, off the top of your head, do you know 3 facilities that you can go to, what their ratings are, if they're near your family, if your physician is affiliated, if your insurance is in their catchment area? Like, there's a lot of factors. Do you know them? Likely not. Your insurance, you may live next door to Sterling Village, and if you have an insurance that's not covered, your insurance is going to say, sorry. So have an awareness. I am not suggesting that you tour facilities. I'm not suggesting, but have an awareness. Having these different resources is key, like you were saying in the very beginning, because you may not remember my name, but you will say, that girl from Sterling Village, I remember that she seemed pleasant enough. Tell me about them. Many liaisons are happy to come to the hospital and meet with you at bedside. I've seen all my colleagues at the hospital. We meet with people at the bedside, and that's our job. That's our role. We do that.
Great.
So like Marie said, don't wait for a crisis. Start early. Educate yourself. Like senior helpers, we have like a list of questions like when you're interviewing home care companies, a list of questions that you want to ask them. We can provide that to you because like you want to see different people, like what's good for you, what's not good for you. So don't wait for a crisis. And like Richard had said, the senior centers, like, it's a wealth of resource. Participate in their programs because sometimes we are in there doing educational programs, how to recognize stroke, talking about what we do. So there's so much in there that you need to take advantage of, but don't wait for a crisis. Start early, know what's out there so that when that time happens, you have a choice and you can make like an educated decision.
I was just going to finish up a thought I had that I mentioned earlier about patient rights. One cautionary tale, while you absolutely have the right to choose agencies, to choose home care, to make bad decisions, agencies and facilities also have a right to reject the referral if you left the hospital AMA. If you are not discharged, AMA is against medical advice. So if you get PO'd and storm out of the hospital, there's no doctor at the hospital that's going to sign off on your discharge, and therefore there's no one that's going to sign orders for a referral to our agency, and it makes it very difficult to get help in the home. You can refuse treatments. You can refuse medications, but do that up to the point that they say, okay, we can no longer help you, we're going to discharge you. But leaving against medical advice makes it harder to get assistance in the home quickly. You can still get it. Your personal doctor will have to make referrals for you. It'll just take longer.
Yeah.
So again, refuse any treatment you don't want, refuse any medication you don't want, but don't walk out, please.
Good advice.
Okay.
Very good.
Excellent. Anything else?
Yeah.
Echo?
Not much. Just, involve your family, have the conversation, and always remember that you're ultimately in charge of what happens, and you maintain your autonomy at all times.
Excellent.
Great. Excellent.
Wonderful.
Well, let's give
Yeah, thank
Amma,
you.
Richard, Marie, and Echo a big round of applause.
Yay.
And we are on time, and the ice cream truck is here. So, everyone, go get yourself an ice cream. You can come back in here and enjoy it where it's nice and cool, or you can take it to go. But we appreciate you all coming. We'll see you here again next month, where we're going to talk about senior scams and how to keep yourself safe from the internet asking you for your account information.
And
So,
feel free to grab their business cards. Their information is all at the table where you signed in, or if you want to ask them specific questions, use them as resources today so you build that connection. And thanks so much for coming.
thank you.